Okay, recording in progress. Good. It's 6 o'clock now. Well, and it's the beginning of our wonderful program, Her Story. And let me greet each one of you with all heart and welcome you to this series tonight of Her Story. My name is Tina Kunz, for those who don't know me, but I think you all know me and I know all of you, as I can see. And about the Women's Federation, it has been founded in 1992 and became an NGO because of all the good work that has been done over the years in service projects. So since 97, it is actually NGO status category 1 and has always renewed it because of all the good work that is being done in the countries and continents. And so tonight I would like to really say how happy we are that we have a very wonderful speaker, Elena Bernasconi Tabellini.
Thank you.
Welcome, Elena. And I would like to just share a little bit about the story, how we met, because it was really quite interesting. I think it was something inspired by heaven, because I went to Austria. Originally, I'm Austrian, and I went to Austria to visit some family and friends. And I had to meet a friend in Vienna in the Hauptbahnhof, in the main station, train station. And I didn't know if that train that I took from the airport there would stop at that train station. So I was a bit unsure, and then there was a very nice lady just besides me, and I thought, well, I will ask her. She's catching the same train. And so I asked her if this train, she knows that train is stopping at the Hauptbahnhof, at the main train station in Vienna. And she said, yes, it does, because I am going there as well. So we started chatting. You know how we are. And as women, we like to talk and chat. And then we sat together and then we chatted a little bit. And then she asked me what I was doing. And I told her that volunteer with a women's group, Women's Federation for World Peace, because we are very keen to help to bring people together and make a positive influence in family and communities. And she said, oh, that's interesting. My daughter, she is doing something similar. She is working with nonviolent communication. And I said, wow, that's exactly what we are interested in as well. And then there you go. She told me your name, Elena. And then I asked her if it is okay to get in touch with you. And thankfully, you really are happy and keen to get in touch with us as well. So there you go. We have made a connection made in heaven for our good work to make some positive influence in society. So we are very grateful that you could come on, that you can come on tonight to explain how you got into your work and what it is and the effect of it. So we're all ears to listen to you. And welcome once more to you, Elena, from all of us. Yeah.
Thank you, Martina, for this introduction. I'm super happy and also excited to be here sharing my story with you all, and above all with women involved and committed in bringing more peace into this world. We need it, we know it, and so I'm deeply, really honored to be here with you. I've prepared a few slides because Tina just said that she met my mom. My mom is Austrian, but I have a background, a cultural background that I'm very European actually, but I wanted to share something. I live in the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, so I'm going to share my slides so that I can focus and stay focused on what I want to share with you. And the first slide is about the title that I say, let's shift back to empathy. And Back to Empathy is the name of my or company, let's say. And for me, really, my intention is through my life to inspire people to get back to empathy, which is our natural state. So I'm deeply committed to this. And so I'm based in Switzerland, as I was saying. And as you see, I am in the yellow triangle, which is the southern part of Switzerland. And we have 4 different languages in Switzerland. We have German, French, and then we have Italian, and then Romansh. So I belong to a minority, and I've never been Italian because I live in Swiss, but I've never been Swiss because I speak Italian, and born from Austrian and an Italian father. So I have this cultural mixture, and since I was a child, I said, okay, I'm a citizen of the world, and that's it. So I define myself. So when Tina contacted me, first of all, super happy to know about the Women's Federation and the important work you do. She asked me to tell you a little bit about what I do, why I do it, and how I do it. So I hope this will be inspiring for you and give you hopefully also some information that you don't know yet. So this is me with my 2 daughters. I am a certified nonviolent communication trainer. I am a coach as well, trained also a coach based on nonviolent communication. And I am a mother of 2 teenagers. And everything I share has helped me in my parenting. So I have these now long 20-year background, and it has helped me also at my work. And for the last 15 years, I've been sharing nonviolent communication in different settings with schools, but a lot also with parents, as you see here. And I will talk to you more about my work with parents. So how did I end up doing what I do? And why I do this work. So I was in the corporate world. I come from the banking sector, and I used to work, sorry, I have something here in between. I used to work as a project manager in the marketing and communication department. And after that, I worked for 7 years managing a global communication association based here in the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland at our local university. But I always felt there was something missing in my life, and I was searching for more. And then in 25, 2 life-changing events happened. As you see from the picture, I became pregnant, and I got to know nonviolent communication at my workplace. At that time, I used to work at the bank. And so when I became a parent, as I was working in the communication field, I thought, oh, I'm for sure I know everything and I can tackle that. But then becoming a parent made me realize that I was not prepared at all. And yeah, the territory of motherhood was totally unknown for me. And what I knew is I don't want to use authoritarian ways of educating children, but I had no clue what the alternatives were. And I'm speaking of 20 years ago. As I was saying, at the bank where I used to work, they gave a workshop on nonviolent communication. And so I started digging deeper into that, and I really fell in love. So the nonviolent communication has been developed by Marsha Rosenberg, US-based clinical psychologist, who then became a very well-known international mediator. And I started training with certified trainers, and after 9 intensive days directly with Marsha Rosenberg, who came here to the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, it was 28, I decided to quit my job. So 1 week after this intensive training, I quit my job and I said, this is what I need to do in my life. So it was like really falling in love with something and understanding it was a calling, actually. But then I thought, now as a project manager, I started planning what I do next to spread the word as much as I can. And then life tested me in several ways. The first one was that I was pregnant with my second daughter, and I was not really planning on that. And at the same time, while I was pregnant, my first child fell very ill. And she was 4 at that time, and we spent 2 intensive years of treatment at the hospital. And I thought, oh, I will never get into nonviolent communication now in this situation. And at the same time, my marriage was falling apart, of course, and I was caring for my 2 daughters, and with this personal crisis undergoing, and yeah, my world was shaking, let's say. But there is a say, turn your pain into your passion. And people started telling me, how is it that you can keep such a presence in such a horrible moment of your life, and your daughters are so calm and present as well. And so they started becoming curious. And this is how I started actually giving workshops. A whole group came to me and asked me to give a workshop. And this is what I've been doing for the started. And I've been working, as I was saying, with parents and schools. This was my main target. And then during the past years, I started working also with organizations, both for-profit and non-profit, given also my 2 backgrounds. So after a while, I started wondering, how can I increase impact? Because giving some workshops here and there wasn't really so fulfilling for me. And obviously, through my work, I got to know other women. As you, I started networking. And then with these 2 other women, we realized that we felt so lonely at the beginning of our motherhood journey, so lonely and lost, and there was no real community around us supporting us in this challenging journey. It's really challenging, and there was no guidance around how to educate children in a way that it's not authoritarian. What are the alternatives? And both these friends of mine, who are mothers and teachers, got to know nonviolent communication, and they got inspired, and we said, let's ground an association to spread the voice about the importance of empathy for our future generations, offer education to parents, and foster a sense of community and responsibility for society at large, and also for the environment, because we are part of our environment. So these were the goals. And of course, the association is based here in the Italian-speaking part of Switzerland, and we operate locally. And here you see, we started. We went into centers where parents meet with young children. And our target was, from the very beginning, parents with children from 0 to 3 years. And after I explained to you also why. So this was the focus was all on that target. And here you see how I work. I give workshops, or let's say 1.5 hours, are not really trainings, are more gatherings where I just give small theoretical inputs, and then the parents can ask their questions, bring up their problems, and then we look at all they bring up. And we try to look that through the lenses of nonviolent communication. How could we deal with that differently? And as you see, I work amid children. Often I have children aged 2 who stop and listen to me carefully, sometimes for half an hour, which is so impressive. And then later, if there are questions, maybe I can tell you a little bit more about these experiences. They're very alive, very loud as well, and we practice emotional self-regulation. It's really a good place to practice that for parents. And then sometimes we organize also evenings, and we always gather in schools. As you see here, the chairs are small. We gather in school rooms, and schools offer these spaces so that are familiar for parents, and parents get there for free. And I wanted just to mention the sustainable development goals that you might all know, and that were announced in 2016. And together with this announcement, the World Health Organization, together with other agencies worldwide, announced the INSPIRE evidence-based strategies proven to reduce violence on children. And this 2017 was also the year, it was 2018 when we founded Empathy, the association. And all this information was spreading around the globe, and INSPIRE really gave us such an important information. So the 7 strategies for ending violence against children, you can see them here, are implementation and enforcement of laws. For instance, in Switzerland, we just discussed passing a law against corporal punishment, which is not there. So anyone could physically punish children, and there are no consequences. So INSPIRE found out that by enforcing these laws, then we can much quicker have cultural changes. And it's impressive for me to think of Switzerland as a country, one of the few, I mean, not the few, but one of the several countries not having such a law. So this will be passed very soon, or has been passed. I don't know what stage they are in now. And of course, among the strategies, there is also parent and caregiving support. And here is where they gave such a precious information, because they said, if we start giving support to parents in their early phase of parenting, we can reduce maltreatment and harsh parenting practices, and create positive parent-child relationships. So why could they say that? Because they did studies, and they saw that through primary prevention, which is different from secondary prevention. Primary prevention is we start spreading tools and information before problems arise. And so they did some researches, and they could prove that by investing money in support to parents from 0 to 3-year-old children, we, as a society at all, we can reduce maltreatments of 48%. And also, of course, this means we can reduce then financial investments that are needed from governments to face all the side effects of harsh parenting practices. And when I say harsh parenting practices, I'm not thinking only of corporal punishment. It's a lot broader, and we as a society are kind of unaware of how our language and culture, where we are born in and we're embedded in, actually shapes then the way we relate to each other, and above all, how we parent. So I have an example later that I will show to you. But this information was so important, because then what we did, we could go to the local authority, which was also developing a violence prevention plan and program, and we got funding. And the project has been now running for 7 years. and it's free for parents and parents who attend, and also caregivers. We have other, not just parents, but other caregivers and also grandparents attending. And it's intergenerational and multicultural. And the goals are to support parents, as I said, in their complex role, but also to offer a non-judgmental space where they can open up, and then they end up saying, oh, but we all have the same problems. Oh, and then they get relief only by sharing these problems. And then, of course, we want to teach them empathic, conscious parenting tools. And the other goal is to build a healthy community around them, because we don't want them to feel lonely as it happened to us. And we want them to start building, I call it their tribe, so that they can offer each other support. And also when they start sharing their problems, and this, after a while, when we meet, they start sharing all the solutions. And then we can see they grow in self-confidence. And this has a huge impact on the level of stress they are confronted with, and they're navigating through their parenting role. And so through normalizing some situations of high stress and high emotional intensity, both on the children's side and the parent side, then they can relax. And as soon as they relax, they can enter that field of empathic relationship. Yeah, and this is what we want them to move into more creativity and joy in parenting. And of course, this has then a lasting impact on children's development. And we want, of course, inspired a world of nonviolence. And yeah, the tools that I pass on are not just nonviolent communication. I also explain to them some basics of neuroscience, the developmental stages of their children. And of course, we practice together emotional self-regulation practices, so that they can remember at home to do that too. And I'm very proud to say that after 7 years, I've touched the lives of over 1,000 of parents just locally. And the project has run now for 7 years, and it's 15 more years that I've been doing now this work, generally speaking. And the good news is that I also work with teams. But what inspires me so much about working with parents is that, above all, parents of children aged 0 to 3, is that their motivation to change, to try things, different approaches, is so high that it takes me only sometimes one meeting of 1.5 hours, sometimes 2 meetings, to experience huge shifts in the way they relate to themselves, to their partners, and to their children. And this has a huge impact then on the family dynamics and constellations, and of course on the society at large. And this is what keeps inspiring me to keep going despite traveling. And yeah, the income is limited, of course, being funded. And so, but the results are so stunning that I keep going, inspired by that. And I wanted also to share with you the proverb you might all know: it takes a village to raise a child. And then there is another one: a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. It's also an African proverb. And that's why also this project, we will keep going with this project because we try to build in-person real communities so that these parents don't feel lonely. And just for you to know, last week, a mother reached out to me and she said, 7 years ago, I came to one of your workshops and it helped me so much. And now I'm back to you because I have some other issues. And so she keeps reading all my emails and so on. So the connection keeps going, and they're really inspired by this approach of nonviolent communication. Yeah, let's move on. Now I spoke about what I do, what I've been doing, and last year I again asked myself, how can I increase impact? Because we see it in the news, we see it everywhere. Yeah, the world is kind of in pain. And so how can I and how can we in the nonviolent communication network increase our impact? This is our big question, of course, as I guess yours as well. So I said, okay, my mission is to empower parents, and I wished I could go do that globally with tools, trainings, and coaching to raise empathetic and collaborative children for a better world. And this is how then I moved into developing, let's say, tools that are also based on marketing and sales, which I haven't done before, because I thought maybe through that kind of global outreach, in a way that I'm speaking at a broader audience with wording that it's calling them towards what I'm offering, I can capture more people. So I'm just at the beginning of that, and here I'm sharing the links, and there are free resources, of course, and then paid resources as well. And I've developed my let's say method, which I call like that, which is a center, which is self-regulation, then connecting, how can I empathize with my child or children, and then problem solve, which is once we understand each other's needs, how can we move into the field where we become creative together, and then thrive together is how do I keep up with family practices, so that I keep up with these tools, with these approaches, and I don't forget about them. Yeah, so this is what I've been doing with parents. And as I was saying, I work also with teams. And maybe what's useful to know is so in the last 2 years, more or less, I say no to, not to all workshops, depends on the situation, but when they ask me a half day or 1.5 days workshops, I say no, because I'm not interested in just the income possibility that these would allow me to have, because I am aiming for real transformation. And real transformation in teams happens not only at relationships level, but also at systemic level. So how do we deal with each other? How do we share information? How do we solve conflicts and problems? So, what I've been doing now during the past 2 years is working on a long term with teams, so that I can really follow and support them along their path with nonviolent communication, which is very easy to understand, but it's not easy at all to apply in real life situations. And what I wanted to share is that I also work with prevention. So if there are conflicts and they ask workshops, I say no. But if they say we want to prevent conflicts, and so we want them to have the tools to deal with conflicts before they arise and to know you in case conflicts arise, then I'm very happy to do that. And I was sharing before, I guess, with Tina, that I've been now working for the past 5 years with a local foundation. And each year I go and work in rotating teams before they move into a phase of high stress that we know when we are under stress, then we move into the field of reactivity. And if you don't have the tools and if you don't understand how we emotionally react and relate when under pressure, then the risk of conflict is very high. So that's it. And now I have prepared two examples. And one is of a mother who came to a workshop. So it was 3 evenings of 1.5 hours. And after the first gathering, she raised the problem of having a daughter, and this daughter refused to take showers in the evening, and this was an exhausting power struggle for her. And she didn't know anymore how to deal with that, was totally exhausted. She needed to have her child clean after the whole day outside, and yeah, she had no clue what was going on, and she both became kind of stubborn. She was trying to oblige her daughter to take a shower, but then, as said, this became just forcing cooperation. There was just, how you say, resistance on the side of her child. And so we worked together, and I'm going to show you now this slide where you see the framework of nonviolent communication. And so usually when we get into a power struggle, we start entertaining judgmental thoughts. And so let's pretend this is the mother and this is the child. So the mother could have thought, oh, she's so stubborn. She never says what I does what I say, or yeah, any judgmental thoughts against her daughter, or even towards herself. Oh, I'm such a failure as a parent. I don't even get her to follow what I'm saying and to follow my indications. And so I could entertain all these thoughts, and usually this is raising pressure, and our nervous system, usually when we entertain this kind of thoughts, will then move into what we already know nowadays, a fight or flight modality. And then we might become aggressive toward our child and react in ways we then are sorry about, we regret later, or we could even give up. Okay, give up on showering. And then I deal with another problem, which is a health issue, maybe. So with nonviolent communication, what we do is translating what we are entertaining over there into, okay, what's happening? What I see, what I hear is that my daughter doesn't want to take a shower, and I ask her to take one before going to bed, and she says no. And when I try to get obedience, she says no even more, and she starts screaming, and yeah, it gets into the power struggle area. And how do I feel? Exhausted, also worried, probably. And what do I need? Oh, for sure, I might need orientation in this situation, because I'm really feeling also disoriented, and support. That's why I feel so exhausted. Ease, that's connected to my exhaustion too. And also I want to be of support and contribution to my child's health. All right, so by the time I've done this process, probably my nervous system has calmed down. And when my nervous system calms down, I connect to my prefrontal cortex again. And, oh, sorry, I just saw that my battery is running low because I had not connected it. So just a moment. Here I am. Yeah, works. Perfect. Yeah. And so what I was saying, my nervous system would calm down and I would move into a space of being again in leadership. And I speak often to become the leader you want to be for your child. Because when I'm in that space, I might move into reactivity. Whereas when I translate into the needs language, I might move into the space of calm presence towards myself because I understand why I'm feeling that way. And then I can more easily open up to my child's inner world and inner experience. So I can naturally become curious, which is empathy in action. So this is what the mother did. Actually, she became curious. She went home, and the next time we met, she said, everything has been solved. I found out that my daughter was not against showering. She knew that after showering, there was bedtime and all the connection and all the play and all the cuddling was over. So that's why she started hating showering. So when she understood that her need was for more connection and play after showering and maybe cuddling, they agreed together how to change the evening ritual so that both of them could feel at ease with that. This is what they did, and actually it worked, and even on a longer term because we met again and this kept going.
Oh.
Yeah. So I could finish here if you wish. I guess I've run out also of my time. So
Yeah, we're getting close to the time of finishing your talk because we would like to also have some questions and answers, and we have some questions in the
chat.
yeah.
Okay, thank you for pointing me to that.
So is it okay?
All
You
right.
you
Yeah.
finished your talk?
Yeah. I had another example, but it's in a team dynamic, so I'm super happy with that. Yeah. Where I ended now, where I stop now.
All right. Okay. Or do you think it would be worth to have this team dynamic example? Because we all work with teams as well.
Yeah, it could be. Then I share that one example. I move back to the presentation because I don't remember
If
the.
it is not too long, if we can still get questions and answers in.
Yeah, it's quick. So usually here you see also a picture because it happens to me often. Leaders maybe say, maybe they don't say, but they think it. And then the nonverbal communication, of course, comes across with the intention they have in their heads that this work is unacceptable. Maybe you've been leading a project team and they deliver, but there are missing elements and so on. And then maybe I'm under pressure as a leader. And then I end up saying, if you can't do better than these, maybe it's time to reconsider your roles in the project. So I can become very harsh very quickly if I'm frustrated. Yeah. And so we always teach teams this can happen if we are too much under pressure, and that it's a matter of humanizing each other and to knowing how we actually overreact sometimes. And this is biologically also embedded in us. And then how we can reframe everything with this framework. And in that case, it could be, okay, observation. I heard you say that actually you didn't have enough time to finish that you were struggling getting some information. And I can totally, with the feelings, I can totally relate to that. And at the same time, I feel frustrated or worried because our need for quality. So we set some quality goals, or the time frame, the schedule that we set, we are running behind. And so I'm worried about that. And I would like to understand how we can move forward so that we can end in time, or we can even discuss now how we could, oh, sorry for that, prevent similar situations in future. So, and before doing that, I would like to hear more about you. So this is my approach from you are or you have to, or you are something, to how I feel, what my needs are, what my suggestion is, and then moving to curiosity about what is your experience, what is your perspective. Yeah, because we want to see perspectives of each other, and each perspective has needs, is speaking to needs. And as long as we understand each other's needs, then it's easier to find solutions in a collaborative and creative way.
Right.
So now I'm finished.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Elena, for explaining about your work so well. Yeah, very interesting. We definitely need this kind of work in all our areas, in family and in working together with others in the community, in our jobs and with our work. So that's really valuable. Do you, maybe before I ask you, can we look at the questions that we have in the messages?
Yes. So
yeah, there is one question about: are you working in conflict zones or for conflict in war zones, about conflict resolution and mediation? Does that come into your work somehow?
Not to my work. It's not my area of work. I'm not trained in that. But the Center for Nonviolent Communication, we are a huge network, as you are. And we are 500 certified trainers and many more non-certified trainers spread all over the globe. And I know for sure, and I can make connection, there are a few trainers working in war zone, and Marshall Rosenberg used to do it himself. So there are a few ones who continue that work, either during war zones, so Israel, Palestine, we know this is ongoing work that is being done there, or even after civil wars, they put together the contenders and they work to heal the relationships between the parties. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So there are many in your organization working also in that area.
Yeah. Not me personally, but not the organization. I mean, the Nonviolent Communication Network.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And there is one question about how men and fathers respond to this program, empathy program. That is also interesting because we certainly need to help the men to reconcile and work together. Oh my goodness, that's a big job. But how do they respond? What kind of experience do you have there?
So I'm super happy to say that this is one reason why I keep working with teams, because I end up working mainly with men compared to other trainers who work mainly with women. I've worked with hundreds of men and I feel comfortable working with them. You can hear their pain. Okay. So I really love working with men, and above all with engineers. Because this approach, the framework, it's quite logical. And so it's quite easy to work with logical minds. And you start from there where they know better the logic, and then you move into the emotional field. And regarding parents, I have more and more fathers coming to these gatherings. So you saw on the pictures, they are still the minority, but they dare to come. And so this always gives me hope and inspiration. Also because one issue is mothers coming to these gatherings, learning the tools very quickly, and then not having yet the capacity and the skills to explain that to, or the role, let's say, to explain that to their spouses or partners. And when they come as couples, then the learning is even more exponential, I would say, because children age 0 to 3 learn by role modeling through how we behave, not what we tell them to do. They watch us, how we deal with our conflicts with our partners. And so if a couple comes, they solve a lot of problems. It's very quick usually. And then they start working aligned also in parenting.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. So the men do respond also with more and more.
Yeah.
They take it in.
Yes.
Use it.
My experience is they take it in. Yes. It's
Nice.
only we need to, normalizing that and not being too fluffy in the in the way we bring it, to bring more straightforward, direct. And actually, when I work also with men, my attitude is more different, less sweet, a little bit more pragmatic, and and then it's really easy peasy.
Very positive. Very nice. Okay. There's one more from Maria, and she says, "Oh, thank you very much. Very interesting and important work. You said that it needs only a few hours to work with parents. How much, please?"
Yeah, I do 1.5 hours trainings, and usually I try to do 3 or 4 in a row in the same area. And already after 1.5 hours, parents come back, and I often open up to ask them, so how was this last week or 2 weeks? And usually there are people starting saying, oh, something changed radically in the way I relate or in the problem I had. And it's very pragmatic the way I really deal with parents. It's just 20 minutes theory. As I said, I show the framework that I showed to you, and 2 more things. These are 3 images. And then I ask them, so what are your problems? And from there, we build it up. And there is always an entry topic. So how to deal with siblings conflicts or jealousy, or how do I say no without yelling? Which is, these are common problems. So I'm not selling that as a nonviolent communication training. I'm selling that, okay, empathy tools to address these kind of issues that we are all confronted with in the early stages of parenting.
Very good. So are you working like yourself in Lugano, right? That's where you live. So
yeah, I work in all this Italian-speaking part of Switzerland. That's why actually I became quite tired after a while, and I'm getting older too. And so that's why I now try to move part of my business online, just to avoid traveling that much. Now there is a new trainer coming in, so that I'm not on my own as well, working in person.
yeah.
So we keep going with that. We keep raising funds. So there is a lot of work, and we are a very small organization. I mean, the local organization.
Yeah.
Then there is the bigger international nonviolent communication network.
Okay. Maybe it would be nice to make connections with our Swiss Women's Federation, huh?
Definitely. As I told you before, I became curious, and I saw that you really do run many projects. So I'm very curious to see if I can also be involved or support or create connections in war zones. This would be really also
yeah. Well, thank you so much. That's really great. Is there somebody who would like to say something from our ladies who are online?
Hello, Martina. I didn't raise my hand. Can I ask something?
Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, I can't see you. Where?
It's Amanda. Can you see
Amanda.
me?
Yeah, yeah.
I put on. Anyway, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Eleanor. And I'm based in Ireland. And one of the so many things you mentioned, I'm in the middle of that kind of situation as well. We really recognize the point of being visible. And that's one of the things that we're kind of working on at the moment, that there's so many things that we need to have it online. And now most of our young people, you know, it has to be quick with gamification and quizzes and something interactive, or 30 seconds or even 10 seconds, they're gone. But we have something that if you got a chance to connect with them, you know, that's the way that we can really have a great connection and also really see change. So firstly, it was very inspiring to hear your story. I feel like I'm a slightly different organization, but doing the same things. And how are you finding it, trying to change that work to now focus to a more online-based platform?
What was the question?
How are you finding, you know, rather than having workshops in person to now change to online courses? How are you finding that?
I keep both. I don't give up on in person because they are too much nourishing, and yeah, they keep nourishing me and the community I live in. So I keep going, reduced, because also what's happening. Yeah, anyway, it's a bigger topic, and I guess it's something happening worldwide. There are less investments for social things and also governmental investments. And so there was a phase where we thought, are we still able to move on? And then we are. So funding is coming back, not as much as it was before. So we kind of reduced there. And then at the same time, there was the switch to online after COVID. So it was all very organic, but I never decided to give up on in-person trainings. So they're too important, above all, because it's about creating communities. And yes, we can create them online. And still, I support and parents to go out and find and found their own, what I call tribes, communities, because we need people, other parents who know our struggles, and without the community around us, it feels a very lonely journey. Yeah,
Definitely, I would agree. Yeah, because we have so many friends and communication maybe online, but then they're sitting, and if you're sitting in a room alone, actually once the screen's off, you know, you're not getting it. So it's trying to find that.
And actually, this brings me back also to the program that I developed. It's the online, and it's offered as a private, not as a non-profit organization. So it has a price. And this price is really low compared to what I offer, because I offer 4 months of weekly group coaching. Because my goal is transformation and support, because I know how really you can feel lonely and disoriented in the early stage. Yeah, and I know, and we know all as parents, I guess. Yeah, and in a society which is more and more international, people traveling more and more, so also their family connections are not there, and these increases that sense of loneliness. Yeah, and so I try to replicate a virtual community, but I just started, so I don't have the experience yet. And Tina invited me a few months ago already, and I said, Tina, I'm too busy building up that app, and I still have to test it out and see where my heart goes besides the organization.
But you do have did you put your details up before?
Yeah, I have it now ready, and I still have to really move into that, because I'm still doing in-person things. So trying to
we can follow you. And then when we're just developing ours. So when it's up and running, I might say, check out ours. What do you think?
Yeah, please. It would be wonderful to connect. Yeah. And somebody asked something to you, Amanda, in the chat.
Hang on, okay, I have to turn this. Are you living in Ireland and traveling to Ireland again? It would be nice to meet and speak together. I am past president connected with UWE. We have projects against violence. Yes, it would be wonderful. Is that Maria? Yes, we're very sociable in Ireland. We're always up for meeting in person and having visitors. So please feel free to come up.
There you go. Connections making already. And I just put your website, empathyforbusiness.com, right?
Oh, this is the other one. Yes. So
that
this is
the other one.
The one focused to business. And
that's for organizations and so, which is very valuable as well. And Empathy for Business, if you would like to take it down, everybody, then it's right here in the chat.
Yes.
Amanda, I want to take down also your name, so I will check it out or connect somehow.
Yeah.
Amanda Tumangilov.
Okay.
My husband is Bulgarian with a fabulous name. But yes, we can maybe even via WhatsApp or something through Tina.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. Also, such an important question about community. Yeah.
Good. So yeah, maybe we are coming to an end of our session, which was very insightful and very positive and very hopeful, giving hope, isn't it? So that's real great. I hope we can keep up connection and make connections as we met here on online. Make connections and develop them. That'll be great. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you so much for inviting me and to get to know more also about your organization and all these empowering women who powerful women empowering women.
That's right. And strengthening women and helping to create bonds of unity and collaboration. We really do need that so much. How about if I ask Mitty for a few words at the end? Mitty is our European president, you know that, Elena. Sorry if I didn't explain it beforehand. Mitty is our European president and also UK president. So, and she's really a great lady, I must say. That heart is right in there.
And I'm also doing the tech.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, I just want to say, really, thank you so much, Elena. I really like this point that you made. You need time for transformation, and it's not something you come a couple of times, but you need to really invest in a person to have that real, genuine transformation. And I think that's what the world doesn't do enough. That's why conflicts come about, and we just don't take that time for each other. So I'm really happy that you're doing that. And the fact that it's not just driven by finances, of course, it's really important to have finance, but the fact that you want to see this transformation and the fact that also you're focusing a little bit on men. I think it's really important. Men are often put down.
Absolutely.
That they don't have so much emotions, but actually they're very sensitive. And yeah, I really appreciate you bringing this point up. Yeah. I'm so happy that you accepted to speak at our HerStory, and we will treasure everything you said. And hopefully, fingers crossed that you can join us in Albania for our annual conference this time.
Let's see. Yeah, if I can make it, would be very happy about that. And I would like just to add something about men and women, because I always kept wondering what's the difference, and there are some cultural background around that, because men have always been taught in our culture, at least where I'm based, that men are to go to war, so they have to be tough. And so they were not culturally allowed to connect to their vulnerability in terms of feelings. Whereas women I'm speaking of my culture, of course, we're taught you sacrifice yourself for your family, and because you keep going with the family and take care of children. So we sacrifice our needs, personal needs, for the needs of others. And so nonviolent communication brings that together beautifully, because men are allowed to feel again and to connect the feelings to needs, which is empowering and not soft. Because I always speak, empathy has to do with assertiveness. We become assertive when we speak through these framework. And women are allowed also to become more assertive, because they don't just address their feelings, they speak up for their needs too. And so this is why I see the beauty in working with both genders. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, we are now 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and thank you everybody who came on and joined together. And really, as women, we build a bond of heart and of love, and then bring it out into our societies, our countries, right? So yeah, thank you very much, everybody who came on, and a big special thank you to you, Elena, and to your mom. Please say hello to your mom from us,
the connection.
Karin. That's really nice. Yeah, thank you very much. So shall we close, Mitty?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't want to close.
No.
Anyway, thank you so much, and God bless, and much love, and let's meet up again at the next HerStory, yeah?
Okay.
To listen to a new lady with deep insights. But thank you, Elena. We are so grateful you came and shared with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for the invitation.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Thank you very
God bless.
much. Bye.